Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Yes, I survived the Great Flood. It's taken about a week or so to clean everything up. The studio was absolutely destroyed, and as you can see, this is like a makeshift studio. We're waiting on new desks, new furniture, things like that. So, I'm just trying to get this information out to you. Excuse the mess behind me. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about Milford Police Department. So what's going on? Well, on May 31st this year, Milford is doing a gun buyback event. It's their first one. And I actually ran across this on a Facebook page called That Wasn't Very Gray Man. And I thought it was funny because it's Milford, Connecticut. So I literally clicked on it and went to the site and read the whole thing, pulled it down, actually put a picture of it up on my Facebook page for Gun Guru, and asked you guys if you wanted a video on it. So here we go. Whole video crapping on this. But before I get started, the best way to support the channel, of course, down in the description below, is a link to the merch store. Now, whether you go to Teespring, which is kind of or you could use Bonfire, totally different designs on Bonfire, and they have been doing a pretty good turnaround. So hit that up, help support the channel. You can always do Patreon, locals. You become a member here, right here on YouTube. I put up a day or two ago a video for members only and showing a little behind the scenes of the flood damage and everything else and the recovery that's been going on, the reclamation of our area. But at the very least, guys, without spending a damn dime, all you have to do is like this video, hit up the comment section, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, by all means, subscribe to the channel, toggle that notification bell, so you will be notified every time I put up a new video or I go live. All right, let's talk about the Milford Police Department. So their little press sheet says this: the Milford Police Department, in partnership with Swords of Plowshares Northeast, the Connecticut Department of Public Health, and Guns to Gardens, will host Milford's first gun buyback event Saturday, May 31st, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Milford Police Department located at 430 Boston Post Road, Milford, Connecticut. The event offers community members a safe and anonymous way to dispose of unwanted working firearms. In return, individuals may receive cash compensation while supplies last, based on the type of firearm that is turned in. So what are they talking about? Well, they give you a good price breakdown. You will get $10 for every BB gun, pellet, paint, or air-powered gun. In case you guys don't know what that is, I have one right here. This is a little Beretta Storm, and it is CO2 powered. You can see right there, CO2 cartridge. It is a standard BB gun. Turning something like this in, get you $10. $50 for rifles and shotguns. $50 for single and double shot handguns. You don't know what that is, we'll come back to it. $150 for pistols and revolvers, and a whopping $250 for any assault type weapon as determined by Milford Police. Ammunition will also be accepted, but no payment will be provided. This initiative is 100% anonymous and no ID is required. All firearms must be unloaded and placed in the trunk of your vehicle. That's a little odd if you own an SUV, a hatchback, or a station wagon, or a pickup truck, because you don't have a trunk. So, couldn't tell you how to do it then. Ammunition should be delivered separately. Collected guns will be transformed into garden tools by Swords to Plowshares Northeast Blacksmiths. Go see their website for more information at s2pnortheast.org, and then it gives contact information if you have any questions. So I wanted to kind of do this little breakdown for you. Gun buybacks. I know Meriden had one a little bit a while ago, and other towns throughout the state have had them. What is their impact on crime? Because, listen, that's what they're trying to do, right? That's how they sell it. We're doing a gun buyback, and it's going to help lower violent crime. But it doesn't, because the people that are turning in guns literally are probably law-abiding citizens. Now, of course, you could be a hood rat trying to get rid of some sort of hot gun you used for a robbery or a stick-up or a murder, God forbid. Remember, it's all anonymous. So, God only knows what you're going to get. Another reason these gun buybacks don't work is they are not getting super-duper Gucci guns, right? They're like the assault-style weapon is what they call it, right? Your typical AR. Nobody's turning in a Daniel Defense, right? They're going to turn in some bullshit like high-point carbine or some other crappy gun that's no longer wanted. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I have a perfect example. Here's my example of the type of rifle that's going to get turned in. It's right here. And if you can't see on your video, it is a rusty piece of crap gun. Now, this is technically a working gun. I mean, the chamber and everything is still intact. The trigger mechanism, though currently inoperable, could be easily repaired. And, you know, all you need to do is add the buttstock and the underbarrel grip for the action right there. But technically, this little Stevens right here could be considered operable. So why do I have such a crazy hunk of junk? Because it's a serialized item. Now, what do I have? This literally just lives in the back of a safe. I'm not getting rid of it. There's really no reason to. Could I? Sure. Do I want to? No, I don't. I don't want to give up any firearm to the police or to any other government agency. Another problem with these buybacks is the pricing. I mean, $250 for an assault type weapon. Now, we live here in Connecticut, and these are at a premium. These types of guns, when you were able to purchase them, were well over $1,000. And they still are. If you go buy a Fight Light SCR, it's like a $1,200 ranch gun. If you go buy a fixed mag AR, it's what's legal, then you are paying close to $1,000. And they're offering you a $250 probably gift card to like Chuck E. Cheese for you to turn yours in. And I don't know anybody that would be doing this. All right. Now, there's always that trope of somebody's grandfather died, left them a bunch of guns, and they're not into guns, so they're turning into, to the police their full auto MG that grandpa brought back from, Normandy or whatever it is. There's always that joking like that happening. People are just like, oh, I don't want this gun anymore. I'm going to turn it in. And it's like a full auto, 240 or something. That rarely happens, but it's the stereotype, right? I know in my post on Facebook, somebody put down in the comment section a political cartoon dealing with that exact subject. Does it happen all the time? No, it's very far and few between. So again, to recap that, you're not getting the guns that they're ideally looking for. You're getting crap guns. You're getting the high points. You're getting stuff that's broken or inoperable or I don't know what. But you are not getting, the real nice high-end stuff. And any guns you do get, more than likely, statistically speaking, are coming from a law-abiding citizen or a relative of that law-abiding citizen who has then passed away and left their guns to whomever, and they just don't want guns, so they're going to turn them in. You are not getting little gang hood boogers from Waterbury, Bridgeport, or any other crap hole in Connecticut turning in their little gangbanger guns. It's not happening. Now, I did a little cursory Google search just to see what I could find. And first and foremost, I found an article from the Journalist Resource. And it says, gun buybacks allow gun owners to trade in their firearms to law enforcement, no questions asked. We dive into research that says whether they work. Do they reduce gun violence? So it's a pretty decent article. I'll have that linked down in the description below or in the pinned comment. You guys can go read it yourself. They broke down several studies dealing with voluntary gun buyback programs, and they wanted to see how effective they were. So early research for gun buybacks, mostly from 1990s, all the way up to 2022 is when all these studies were used. It says, on their own, buybacks might not be affected if the goal is to use them to directly reduce violent crime. But research shows buybacks can help if they're part of a broader effort to reduce gun violence. They can also influence public perception of how authorities are dealing with gun violence and serve as opportunities to educate communities about gun violence reduction strategies, according to some of these researchers. Currently, there are no government estimates on what national gun buyback programs might cost, but an analysis from The Trace, a national news outlet that covers guns, estimates the total direct cost for a rifle buyback program would range from nearly $1 billion to $87 billion. The most recent study, which was conducted in August of 2021, analysis published by the Annals of Surgery, examines the results of 19 other studies on whether buyback programs reduce gun violence after searching for research published from January 1900 to June of 2018. The authors focus on 7 specific studies conducted in Australia and 12 from the United States. The U.S. studies go back to at least 1994 and as recent as 2017. The authors concluded that gun buybacks are necessarily and by design anonymous, making it very challenging to study individual outcomes of these programs. Evidence suggests that there may be a small improved impact on suicide prevention in older white males, but no effect on interpersonal gun violence or homicides. So there you go. This one article culminates a whole bunch of studies that says, you know what, they really have no impact. But it's a really great way to get rubes out there in Connecticut to voluntarily, anonymously turn in guns for a couple of bucks. It's ridiculous. Again, I'll have that article linked below. Now, how can this be abused? So I was curious, because with modern technology, I was like, I wonder if somebody just used a 3D printer to print lower receivers. And with a real quick search with Google, not even using like ChatGPT or Grok to do cursory search, no, just straight up Google. Here's the criteria. Right here on Fox News, man makes $21,000 selling 3D printed guns during a New York AG gun buyback program. A New York man claims to have made $21,000 during a gun buyback program by 3D printing over 100 lower receivers and turning them over to the police. The gentleman said, I 3D printed a bunch of lower receivers and frames for different kinds of firearms. Total cost for printing these parts, $200. He received a 3D printer as a Christmas gift, and it took him a little over a week or so to print everything. He made a 6-hour drive up to Utica, where the Utica Police Department was hosting a gun buyback program for the New York State's Attorney General's office. When he approached, the police saw that he had a tote, and they asked him, how many firearms do you have? He said he had about 110. The article goes on to say that the gentleman that printed everything spent the rest of the day negotiating with the Attorney General's staff over how much payment for the 3D printed parts would be. And it ended up with a guy and a lady from the budget office finally coming around with the 42 gift cards and counting them right in front of me. It was $500 per card for 110 lower receivers and various other parts, totaling $21,000 for this gentleman's efforts. He laughed off the claims the AG's office, the Utica Buyback program, was a large success, arguing such programs do nothing but to reduce crime. He goes on to say in the article that I'm sure handing over $21,000 in gift cards to some punk after getting a bunch of plastic junk was a rousing success. Gun buybacks are a fantastic way of showing, number one, that policies don't work. Number two, that you're creating a perverse demand. And you're causing people to show up to these events and they don't actually help reduce crime, according to this individual. New York AG's office did not immediately respond to requests for comments. So right there, again, this article will be pinned in the comment below. These little gimmicks that they don't do anything. They don't reduce crime whatsoever. Think about it. If Connecticut, because remember, we have that registry, which they don't want you to know about. But if Connecticut decided tomorrow they were going to run around and round up all the guns from everybody they knew had guns, all legal gun owners, would that reduce gun crime? What would it do? It would make us a bunch of victims, but in no way, shape, or form would it reduce any gun crime in our state. In fact, it would probably make it go soaring through the roof, because now the criminal element who have guns illegally know that we can't defend ourselves, that we are just victims, just waiting to be violated so they can take our stuff, rob us, rape us, whatever it is. And that's how these buybacks work, right? And that's how gun confiscation works, because once the government takes all our guns away, all that's left is the government and criminals. That's it. Us law-abiding citizens will have no way to defend ourselves. So now coming full circle, so I can explain what a single shot and a double shot handguns are. It's real simple. What I think they are. A single shot handgun, to me, it's probably going to be either like a black powder Derringer or something like a single shot Savvy. These are usually target guns for like competition. I put photos up for you. It's got a scope on it, things like that. That's what I'm thinking. They are usually one shot and you're done. You have to reload because they're for competition. They're bullseye shooting. When it comes to the double shot, the first gun that popped into my head was like the Texas Defender from Bond Arms. It's a little Derringer. They usually are chambered in like 22 LR or something a little more stout. But again, they're like little pocket guns. They're kind of gimmicky. It's not something that I would carry or rely on for self-defense. Funny thing is, I'm pretty sure little hood boogers are not carrying little Derringers around with them. I'm pretty sure they're using Glocks with illegal switches and other types of firearms that are way more effective at dispatching people than some stupid little single shot Savvy. But I want to know what you guys think. Am I just missing the mark? Or do you think the Milford Gun Buy Back by the Milford Police Department is just a joke? Or any gun buyback is a joke? I know some places where they have gun buybacks, like Texas specifically, they'll do a gun buyback and then you literally will have people that are dealers standing out there with cash in hand willing to buy guns off the people before they turn them in and before these guns are destroyed. You can't do that in Connecticut. You need to be able to transfer that gun on a DPS-3. You got to get it out of your name because Connecticut has a registry. So you just showing up and offering cash for these chuckleheads guns can't happen. It's not legal, and there is no way for you to do it unless you were able to convince them to drag their butts down to an FFL to do this transfer. But if the gun was a hand-me-down from a family member, or there's no record of it, you might be opening up a can of worms that you don't even want to be involved in. So most people are just going to opt to just turn these guns in, make some quick cash. I mean, literally, I could go sell that BB gun and get a gift card for $10, and that's like 2 cups of coffee at Dunkin' these days. So there you go. That little BB gun's worth 2 cups of coffee to me. Pellet gun. Pellet gun I have is a Ruger. It's like $60 from Walmart. And they're willing to give you $10 for it. And no thanks. I'll keep the little pellet gun. It's a good little tool to have in your little bucket of tools. I use it in the backyard, things like that. It's good for target practice. It's good for training and teaching people about firearm safety without actually giving them a real firearm. And you can use it for small critters, things like that. But to each their own. So that's all I pretty much have for you guys in this video, in this jinky little studio area that I made. I used to actually be over on that wall that way. But I had to move everything, and it made a little more sense to put things in this shelving unit. For those of you that are members, you got to see behind the scenes, and you got to see this entire room and other rooms. Yeah, the whole area in here had about 4 inches of water in it, and it was pretty brutal. You know, the great purge of 2025. So I think all in, we total up close to $30,000 worth of damage between different appliances that are down here and personal items. Things like, you know, half my comic book collection was destroyed that I've had since I was a teenager. And if you know how old I am, we're going back many, many moons. So a lot of nice high-end comics, signed and things like that, gone. It sucks. But hey, that's why we have homeowners insurance, things like that. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all the kind words and support from you guys. It's just, you know, another day. Things happen, press on. Insurance is really good. It's very important. I don't understand how people own homes or rent without insurance, just like I don't understand how people are law-abiding concealed carry permit holders and don't have some sort of insurance to protect them because you are in Connecticut. I'm not going to tell you what company to go with. There's tons of them out there. You got to do your own research, figure out what works best for you. But having insurance to kind of cover your six is really important, guys. So if you don't have anything, you really need to do your research and look into it. All right, I promise. That's all I got for this video. I am going to go try and rearrange, and hopefully my desk and my chair will be in soon so I can have a proper studio and we can do a live celebrating the whole new studio setup. All right, I will see all of you in the next video.